Good afternoon, this is Wilhelmina Ford. I would like to greet everybody good afternoon, first here in Brisbane, and good morning to you whenever you are, because we have a time difference. Now, I have said on many videos, we are now on social media. This is now my virtual online office. I represent Conakry, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Mali. I handle sales and marketing on behalf of the seller. Now, why you see Wilhelmina? This is my office. This is my home-based online office. Now, you are searching gold for many months or many years. You have been dealing with so many fictitious offer. You've been dealing with so many fictitious broker and fictitious seller. Now in Africa, 98% gold coming from Africa, 50% of rough diamond coming from Africa. I know that international buyers are looking for supply. There's a saying, supply and demand determine the price. Now, Mr. Buyer, as today we are on the coronavirus, the whole world is locked down. International flight is locked down. Even here in Australia is locked down. Only Conakry, Guinea opened their international flight last week. So, Conakry, Guinea Airlines, Turkish Airline, Air France Airline, I think it was mentioned by my head office that African Airlines, Utopia Airlines, is now on operation in Conakry, Guinea. So the president announced that international flight would be resumed. So it was resumed last week. Now in Sierra Leone, I don't know if the international flight has been resumed. I don't know if Mali's international flight has been open. I don't know. In Australia, our international border is closed. The coronavirus is rampant in Melbourne, but in Brisbane, we are lucky that our government is very strict. We don't wear masks compared to Melbourne. They are obliged to wear masks because of the coronavirus. It was been locked down. 6 suburbs in Melbourne has been locked down. So, going back to this buying of gold and rough diamond, I do understand that you are screaming to get the supply. Your business would not function if there is no supply. There is a saying, supply and demand determine the price. Now, Mr. Buyer or Mr. Seller, I would like to emphasize, I should not tell you this, but I am here to educate both parties. Now, gold is not for credit. Gold is cash. Gold has many uses. Either you're gonna make into $1. This is gold coins make of gold. Okay? Now, Mr. Buyer, gold has many uses as I mentioned every video. There is gold on mobile phone. There is gold in laptop. So gold can make into jewelry. Gold can make into figurines. Gold can make into this one, boxes made of gold, right? Right, so gold can make into jewelry or medical uses or industrial spare parts or 99.99. It is refined. So therefore, you are buying money. This is money you are buying. So gold coming from Africa. 98% coming from Africa. 50% of rough diamond coming from different part of Africa. So why the worldwide the company is coming to Africa? Chinese, Australian, Russian, German, buyer from Dubai, buyer from Europe, buyer from Middle East, buyer from Australia, buyer from Hong Kong, buyer from Singapore and China. Why they are there in Africa? because of natural resources. The reason why I'm come early on my digital online office because I would like to update the price of gold today. The price of gold today is 59,679.66. There is a prediction that the gold will turn to 64,300 before the end of 2020. Last year I did warn everybody, bank now because there is a prediction that the gold will turn to 54, 55. Last year that was only 45. Now it was increases to 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 today. Today is July 22. The price of gold is 59,679. So the price of gold, it fluctuates. One of my friends was asking me, Wilhelmina, who control the pricing of gold? The association who control the price of gold is the associations of all refineries, the bank and the stock exchange. When the economy is in trouble, the gold price goes up. When the political country are unstable, the gold goes up because gold is money versus paper money. Now, as I've said to you, this is $1 made of gold. This paper money has no value if there is no gold reserve in their central bank. Now, this is the money of Sierra Leone. I was in Sierra Leone before lockdown. This is the money. Leftover I have. This is Sierra Leone money. Now, this is Conakry, Guinea money. I was in Conakry, Guinea several times. I've been to Conakry, Guinea because I brought the buyer. The buyer bought the gold and diamond successful. So now, Mr. Buyer, which one you are going to secure? Gold, Mali, Conakry, and Sierra Leone. Now, the full corporate offer is already in front of you, Mr. Buyer. Now, I want you to read properly. Do not come to Wilhelmina asking question, because question and answer is already in front of you. I want you to read the full corporate offer. That is a procedure of that particular country. I put everything online. I expand it in order for you to comprehend, in order for you to understand. Now, this procedure, the seller would not explain it to you thoroughly. I explain it to you in order for you to comprehend. Because most of the seller in Africa, they don't even explain to you. That is the reason why you were being duped. They will offer you fictitious offer. 27, 28, 29, that is fictitious offer. And the seller will offer you because he's hungry in order to grab you. Mr. Buyer, you are watching Wilhelmina. At the same time, I'm educating you. This is real business. And if you listen to Wilhelmina, I can assure you, I can guarantee you, you will not fail. Why? Why you are going to be failed? You don't have the money. You are deceiving yourself. Do not deceive yourself. Before you travel, you make sure you have money standby in your bank account, because gold and diamond is not for credit at all. It's not. Mr. Buyer or Mr. Seller, please don't offer fictitious to any international buyer. I don't want my fellow foreigner to be duped because you offer fictitious offer, and your government would not allow to take the precious item without full payment in order to reflect cash inflow. And you have to show the receipt to the Ministry of Mines that the buyer fully paid the products. There are so many buyers has been duped. So many buyers lost their deposit. Why? That deposit would be forfeited if you don't have the money. If you're gonna ask the The seller asking you, here's my gold and here's my diamond to pay down payment, and then at the end of the day you don't have the money, your deposit would be forfeited. And the seller would not tell you that. I am telling you because I was on the ground. This is for you, Mr. Buyer. Make sure when you travel, you have enough money to pay standby in your bank account. There is no point to travel and you bargain it when you arrive on the ground. There are so many instances, but I'm not going to mention any particular person who deceived himself. Okay? Now, Mr. Buyer, I don't want you to be duped again. You were being duped. You were being scammed. I refrain using scam. Scam means you lied yourself. Scam means you deceive yourself. Scam means you manipulate the price. And the hungry seller also grab your manipulation. So who is the loser? Both of you. Because once the money in the hand of the seller, sometimes the seller will not pick up the phone. Excuse me. Sometimes the seller will not answer your call. So, Mr. Buyer, there are so many tricks in this business. I am telling you the real answer. I am giving you a very good information. But my services is not for free when I travel in Africa. Now, I've given you free service already. Online, I explain how you are able to get the gold. But when you running around comparing the prices, the seller would not tell you that. He wouldn't. He will offer you fictitious cheap offer. Yeah, he has the gold, but he is going to grab you. He is going to trap you to come to his country. Mr. Buyer, before you travel, make sure that the fictitious seller is really offering the right price. That fictitious seller going to offer you a cheap price. When you arrive on that particular country, there's a lot of surprises. Because the Ministry of Mines will not issue a certificate that the product is free of illegal activities. The Ministry of Mines will certify the owner of the gold that his gold is 22.54, his gold is 95, 96, 97, 98 purity. Alright? And his gold is ready to export. But without that, Mr. Buyer, I'm telling you, you're going to be trapped on that ground. 100% guarantee. Why? I was on the ground and I was talking to a lot of sellers. They are offering you fictitious offer. Now, there was a seller. He offered the gold to a fictitious buyer, but he is not a buyer. When I interviewed the buyer, because he called me and he come for WhatsApp, and he is a broker, and he was being offered 29. And I told him, who offered you the 29? And the seller, I know the seller. So I called the seller. Why are you offering fictitious price? Why? Is there any reason? The price of gold was already 55,300 few weeks ago. And you know that seller, he says to me, I offered the price in order for the buyer to come to Sierra Leone. And I said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Because that buyer is hungry. He is going to get your product and you offer him $29,000. That is 14 carats only. And there is no 14 carats because when you ask the gold to GGO, the gold is 98.6. So therefore, it's not $29,000 per kilo. So when I was talking to the seller, he said, because that buyer is bargainer. I said, even though he bargained, you don't need to deceive the foreigner. So I told this seller, I'm not going to mention his name. And I said to that particular seller, you are very devious. That is the reason why buyers are scared to travel, because of you guys. I told this seller, do not, because you're Department of Mines will never issue a certificate of clearance that the buyer pay and the price, because that is an income of that particular country. That's what I told the seller. So the seller said, "Oh, I'm sorry, madam. No, don't do that again." So I get back to that broker and I said to broker, "You have no idea what you are dealing." Now, Mr. Buyer, this information is really vital. Whether you buy gold in Ghana, whether you buy gold in Mali, whether you buy gold in Conakry, whether you buy gold in Burkina Faso or Togo or Tanzania or anywhere, or in Congo, most of them they offer you 25. Please, Mr. Buyer, don't grab it. Don't, because that offer is a fictitious offer. Wilhelmina is giving you a real procedure, a real price. Now the price today is 59,679.66 on the world market, spot price. Our selling price on 22 carats, Mr. Buyer, at the moment, today is July 22, is 54. Now, so you're gonna say, "Oh, very expensive." Of course, you are buying expensive item, which is precious. Define me, Mr. Buyer, what is the meaning of precious? If you can give me the answer, what is the meaning of precious, therefore there is a value on it. There's a saying, supply and demand determine the price. And he who has the gold and diamond makes the rules. Who makes the rule? The Department of Mines makes the rule. The government makes the rule. Not you, Mr. Buyer. Not you. You follow the golden rules of the country. That is why I'm here. My seller hired Wilhelmina to educate you, Mr. Buyer, because both of you, both buyers and sellers, has been deceived. The buyer asking CIF, and the buyer promised the seller that he gonna be an investor. What happened when the gold in the hand of the buyer? The seller would be tralala. It happened to my seller. My seller lost 23 million on 450 kilos. It happened. When I was in the office, my seller said, "We were being scammed." I said to my seller, "How did it happen?" We give the buyer 100% CIF. And the buyer promised that he gonna invest after 450 kilos. When the gold was in the hand of the buyer default the payment. Now the seller of mine sued the buyer. It cost him money to hire the lawyer. So when I was in the head office last year, that was last year, and I told my seller, "Don't believe on buyer. Buyers are liars. Don't believe. Buyers are sweet talker." And I told my seller, "You have the gold. Gold is money. It doesn't matter if the gold will not be sold. Tell the buyer, good luck. Gold will not fade. Gold is the world asset. The world needs gold." This is what I have said to my head office in Conakry. You know what, my seller in Conakry? Thank God that you are here. That was last year. And my transaction was successful. And this year, I went to Conakry several times. My transaction was successful. Now you're going to say, "Madam, I want to know who is your buyer." No, we don't divulge our buyer for confidentiality. My seller in Conakry has been in gold business for 23 years. Mr. Buyer, I don't need to explain to you. You need to convince Wilhelmina. Because if you watch this video and you watch the video of Mineral Consulting Group of Company and Mali and Sierra Leone, when you come to Wilhelmina, meaning to say you are ready. And if you come to Wilhelmina and then you ask question, the question and answer is already in front of you. I'm telling you. And I will reject you if you don't follow the golden rules of the country. Now, a few minutes ago, I had a buyer from India. He sent me his business registration, export registration, etc., etc. But his documentation is blurred and I cannot read it. So I asked him a lot of questions and I want him to put his banking details on WhatsApp because he is going to buy gold from us, 10 kilos to start with. So when I look at it, I said, no, you don't have cash in your bank account. Zero. Mhm. So he's asking me to help him to bring the gold to his country, which is India. And he said he will resell it, and then when he received the money, that is the time he will pay us. I said, no, we don't do that. Before the gold leave the country of origin, you have to pay in full. However, I said to this Indian, however, because in India is locked down, everybody's locked down because of the coronavirus, we will consider 10 kilos. Whoever you are, you pay the 5 kilos out of 10 kilos. Cash bank to bank. But we will scrutinize you. I myself will scrutinize you. I will ask your business registration, your importation license, your passport copy, your bank statement that you have 500,300 in your bank account, right? And your bank manager, your bank branch address, telephone number, and your bank manager. Why? I am going to contact your bank manager whether you are really good customer. In order to protect our gold. The gold that we are going to give it to you for credit, right? 50-50 is worth 500,300. So that is money almost as it's $500,000. So we will scrutinize you. So if you cannot meet the criteria, I'm sorry, you wouldn't get the gold. Now, that is an offer because of the coronavirus. You don't want to travel? Yes, we will give you the gold. Out of 10 kilos, you pay the 5 kilos. We will provide you the banking details of my seller, whether you buy in Conakry and Sierra Leone or in Mali. But I have to scrutinize you properly. And I will guide you by long distance because I cannot travel. Because here in Australia, we are still locked down. The international flight would be open maybe next year. Because in Melbourne, it's locked down at the moment. Everybody has to be wearing a mask, and they have to have a social distancing. But here in Brisbane, we don't wear masks, but we have to be careful. I went to the travel agent yesterday if I could travel overseas, and I was being refused. And according to my travel manager, my travel agent, Wilhelmina, please don't travel. I said, why? The government is not allowing you to travel. Any Australian, wait until further notice what the government is announcing to everybody to fly overseas. If I'm going to travel, there's so many paperwork to apply. The Department of Foreign Affairs has to give me the certificate that I am negative. Yes, I was negative, but I'm not going to gamble it. Because when I come back, I would be quarantined for 14 days, and I have to pay my own hotel and food while I'm on quarantine. So I'm not going to do that. So why should I travel with the buyer, and the buyer have no money? And when I travel with the buyer, I do charge my travel cost. Now, used to be I charge $10,000 to accompany you guys. But because the price of gold increases, my extra service is also increases. Fair is fair. I've given you free already. If you listen to this, you are a winner. But if you want me to travel with you in order for you to supervise, yes, instead of $10,000 I charged before, because the price of gold is 59, almost 60, my extra service is also increases. So fair is fair, isn't it? So if you cannot afford, maybe you are not really a buyer. You're a small timer. So which one you like, Mr. Buyer? We will send the gold to you. You don't need to pay my extra service, yeah? Because I'm going to charge the seller of my services. I am a marketer. I am not an agency. Put that into the back of your head, Mr. Buyer. I am not an agency. You, Mr. Broker, you asked me to teach you. No, I am not here to teach you. I am here to sell. I am here to tell the world that we have the supply. My seller has the supply. There's a saying, supply and demand determine the price. I hope you guys, you understand what I'm saying. This is my virtual online office. I am updating the price of gold today. The price of gold today is it fluctuate. Before I closed down early morning, the price of gold was 55,900. When I opened my online virtual office, the price, wow, 59,300, 59,500, 59,700, 59,670. So it fluctuates. So on this video, you click the link, Conakry, Guinea, Mali, and Sierra Leone. You click and read it properly. When you are ready, you come back, because Wilhelmina is not going to chase you. You are chasing the products, and we have the products. As I have said to you many times, he who has the gold and diamond makes the rules. Who makes the rule? The government. Who makes the rule about the pricing of gold? The world market. When the country is not stable, or if there is a political issue, then the price of gold, there's inflation and deflation. So we are on recession at the moment. Everybody's on panic. They will buy gold in order to print this money. Without the gold bars, this money has no value at all. So therefore, we're gonna have inflation versus deflation. Now this money, $1, okay? $1. You're gonna see, Madam, I wanna buy gold in Australia. We have gold but limited. Once the gold has been mined in Australia, automatically deliver it to Mint Refinery here in Australia in Perth. And the supply is not sufficient enough. That is why Australian mining company is in Africa. They are in Mali, they are in Ghana, they are in Conakry, they are in Sierra Leone. They are big company. They are investing into the country in order to create employment as well. So that big company would not pay taxes, but they are going to remit the royalty instead. So you as a small trader, you pay the product plus tax. Yeah? Plus tax. So you cannot just say, oh, I'm going to buy gold, I'm going to pay tax. No, you have to buy the gold plus value tax. So now, in our position, I encourage my seller to waive the tax of 7%. Because when you buy the products, plus tax of 7%. So I told my seller, okay, because the price of gold is high, so let's give the buyer an incentives. Our selling price is tax inclusive. Read the procedure properly, Mr. Buyer. It says tax inclusive, meaning to say you pay the products. You don't need to pay taxes. We waive it, but you have to pay the insurance. Okay? So the insurance, it varies from the total sale value. And the shipping cost, because the gold has to be brought to the shipper, and you have to pay to the shipper. Right? In every seller have a different procedure. Now, in Conakry, my seller is a shipper. So you're going to save money. We will waive the shipping cost, but you pay the insurance. Once the gold leave the country of origin, you insure that. So that in case the gold will be stolen, so then you have the insurance. This is in Conakry. Because my seller have an in-house. The same company. They are going to ship the gold to you. We are not using shipping agent. My seller will ship it directly to you. Now, in Mali, there is a shipping agent. So there is a link. So you have to pay the shipping cost and insurance to that particular shipping agent. Right? And also in Sierra Leone. Okay, there's a shipping agent. Click on the link. You're going to contact the shipping agent. So it's not my responsibility. I already provide you huge vital information. information worth $1 million. I already given you worth $1 million of information. If you cannot comprehend to me, you are not really a buyer. You are not. You are just time waster. You are just online stalker. You can stalk any group to group, but the price, you must remember there would be an increase of the price of gold. There is a prediction before entering 2021, the price of gold will be 64,300. Think about it. I give you one already before. Last year I said bank now because there will be a prediction that the gold will turn to 55, which is correct. Because I read the world event, I read the movement of gold. I am sharing you so that when you come to Wilhelmina, you are ready to buy from us. You are. So, Mr. Buyer, which one you like? When are you going to place your order? When? Now, Mr. Buyer, just read, before you come to Wilhelmina, I want you to read, I want you to comprehend, I want you to digest it. Do not roam around and thinking that someone will offer you cheap price. I can guarantee you that fictitious offer, at the end of the day, you're going to be trapped. Yeah, there are so many buyers already on the ground. I meet Mr. Buyer. If you have not traveled to Africa, I'm telling you, you're going to be in trouble. Meaning to say, you're going to be financially heartbroken. There are so many buyers already have a financial heartbroken. They've been frustrated, said, oh, it's scam. You are one of the scammer, Mr. Buyer. Why? You are looking for cheap price. You are manipulating the price. You are manipulating the seller. Do you understand, Mr. Buyer, what is the meaning of scam? I want you to look at on the dictionary. Find the definition of scam. I'll give you the answer right now. The meaning of scam means you have lied to yourself. Seller and buyer are lying each other. Seller and buyer are manipulating each other. Okay? Seller and buyer deceiving each other. Why both seller and buyer deceiving each other? The buyer is hungry to buy and the seller is hungry to sell. Right? So when both is hungry, you're going to be offered fictitious offer. You're going to grab it, right? And then when you travel to particular country, it's no longer the price. Now, there was an Indian guy I met in Dubai before I returned it. I arrived here in Australia. I returned home from my trip. I was in Sierra Leone. I was in Conakry. And this gentleman, he's an Indian. He came to my hotel in Dubai, in Holiday Inn. So I stayed there for 3 days. I interviewed buyers. Out of 8, didn't meet the criteria. Why? They're asking for LC. I said, good luck. They're asking for SBLC. I told them, good luck. They're asking for CIF. I told them, good luck. So this buyer is really very inquisitive. He saw me online because when I travel, I always thought that I'm traveling. So he came to see me. He's an Indian guy. And he said that he was talking to a seller in Sierra Leone, that he was offered 35,500 during the time. So the price of gold March was already 55,800. And I told this gentleman, this price that you were being offered is not the price. That is gross. And when you arrive in Sierra Leone, I can guarantee you, you're gonna encounter disaster. So he went there, okay, and I arrived in my hometown in Brisbane, and he sent me a message. Madam, I'm disappointed. I said, why? My seller didn't consider. I said, of course, because you don't have the money. So he was asking CIF. So thinking that he has the money. So I rescue him. I asked my seller if he could meet this Indian buyer. There are 2 of them. And without my knowing, so they were talking to each other. So I told this Indian that actually I don't deal buyers already on the ground, but I meet him in Dubai. So he was talking to my seller, and he paid $7,000 tax only. And he wanted to buy 2 kilos. And I said to my seller, what happened? And this buyer and the seller of mine, they were both devious, eh? And they didn't give me the feedback. So when the buyer is stuck in Sierra Leone, they come back to me. I said, why you come back to me? You were on the ground, you were talking to my seller. And what happened? Madam, I'm back to Dubai. I said, yeah. So please tell your seller to bring the gold to Dubai. I said, no. The seller would not give you his gold and you are a stranger. So he left his partner. So his partner, because this buyer is also devious, so my seller and his partner went to the Department of Mines. The Department of Mines explained to the seller and the buyer in front of my seller that where is the payment, the receipt of payment called cash inflow. So what happened? Disaster. But this Indian, he is not my customer. He just come to see me for advice. But this Indian is very clever as well. There are two kinds of buyer, good and bad. That's why my seller is allergic to Indian. Allergic. Even myself, I'm very, very patient. So he flew to Dubai and he left his Indian partner. His Indian partner cannot pay the hotel, and my seller pay his hotel to rescue him. Can you imagine that? And I said to this buyer, you are very embarrassing. You come to Africa and you're just like a beggar, and my seller paying the hotel of your partner. My seller was telling me, yeah. So this is how you buyer, you are very devious. Another gentleman, I took him to Sierra Leone on diamond. After he saw the diamond, he screwed me. He doesn't want to talk to me. Yeah, he doesn't even communicate with me. How could I help him? And I charged my extra service, and he was talking to my seller, thinking that he can bargain, and he's asking for CIF, and he was embarrassed to ask me. I said to my seller, why are you gonna embarrass? I am here with him. But when I was in Sierra Leone, they don't want to share with me what's they're going on. They go out and talking to my seller, etc. And without their knowing, I went out as well. I went to the Department of Mines without knowing of my seller and the buyer. I asked myself, hey, I am here in your country. What is the real procedure of exporting gold? And if I am the foreigner, I am here in your country. You know the Ministry of Mines says, thank God that you are here, Mrs. Ford. Tell the world that gold cannot leave the country of origin without full payment. Can you imagine that? The cash flow. And most of the seller also is hungry. They are trying to cut corner. Mr. Buyer, if any seller offer you fictitious price, please don't grab it. Please. I'm telling you, I am not discouraging you. I am both helping both buyers and seller. When you travel, you need to have standby money in your bank account because the payment must be bank to bank. If you don't have the money and if you have limited cash, please get out. Please. I'm telling you. Okay, I am not discouraging you. I am not destroying my seller. I am telling the truth. Please, if you don't have the money, Mr. Buyer, don't be involved in this gold business and diamond business. Stay away. Now, this buyer from India, he sent me his letter of his banking detail, have no money. He's an export license. His license is blurred. And we respond to his intention to purchase. And this Indian buyer, he's in India right now, is very fictitious. And he said, Madam, please help me. I want to buy gold. Send me the pre-invoice, but I don't have the money. I'm going to duplicate. I said, no, don't do that. I'm going to show to my buyer that this is the gold. I said, no, we don't do that. You are deceiving yourself. No. Because once we send you the pre-invoice and the banking details of my seller, and I asked this buyer, what is the contact name of your bank manager and address. He refused to give it. So this is a very fictitious buyer. I am going to share here so that the future seller would see that please interview the buyer thoroughly. That is the reason why my seller hired Wilhelmina. I only deal buyer that can provide his business license. I only deal buyer that can show his importation license very clearly. I only entertain buyers can send his passport copy. I can only entertain buyers can show his proof of funds, his bank statement. Because we are going to verify. I am going to verify your background, Mr. Buyer, because once we send you the letter of acknowledgement of your order, you can contact my head office. You can contact them, right? So, Mr. Buyer, I think I already give you a very, very thorough explanation. If you don't have this, please get out on this business. I'm telling you. I am not here to teach you. Don't beg, Mr. Buyer. A minute you beg me, you are considered a beggar. Because gold is not for beggar. This is money, Mr. Buyer. $1 made of gold. My seller didn't beg to the government to issue the license to mine. And before he touched the land, he has to provide the mining license and the corporate of his company, and he has to provide the Ministry of Mines that how many tons of gold deposit in his land, and he has to show the gemologist report, and you as the buyer asking for credit, asking for CIF, asking for his BLC, asking for letter of credit to me, you don't have the cash. You are going to leverage it. Mr. Buyer, define me the meaning of CIF. Define me the meaning of LC. Define me the meaning of SBLC. I want you to do the research and come back to Wilhelmina if you can give me the answer. This gold business is cash business. This is not for credit. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant good afternoon.